welcome to yet another wonderful episode of Uncovering Authenticity. I'm your host, Monique Bradley. This podcast is about real people and real stories, taking off that mask, being present and sharing why people do things, what drives them, why they want to make a difference in the world. And I'm absolutely delighted to have in the studio an incredible woman with the most wonderful story, doing wonderful work. Her name's Jaycee Hazooria, and she is an immigration specialist. Welcome to the studio. Hooray!
Thank you.
Now, the cool thing about this, Jaycee, is because we're in a podcast studio, you only have to look at this beautiful face right here at me.
Okay.
You don't even have to. I know there's cameras around. You don't just ignore them.
Okay.
This is about you and me.
Right.
You and me. How does that sound?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect for the first podcast.
For the first podcast, that's right. Now, Jaycee, there'll be people who are listening going, oh, she's got a bit of an accent. Tell us, where have you come from? Not just today, but because we were in the same place this morning. Yeah. Where have you come from originally?
I was born in India, Punjab. It's I call it heart of India because that's the place, upper left side, where if you see India as a person, it's where heart is. So
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I call it heart of India, and Punjab. I call myself Punjabi girl.
Punjabi girl.
Yeah, Punjabi girl.
And you've got. I know you're an immigration specialist, but you've got quite the immigration story yourself. Before you got into immigration, there's a bit of a history that got you here, even to New Zealand, and you've had a few different jobs as well.
Yes.
Tell me about that, because I think it's really shaped. From what I've heard of you, it's really shaped who you've become.
My first job was actually as a health instructor.
Wow.
I was a badminton player, and I wanted to go for, a career as a health instructor. But due to limitations, I changed my profession to computers because I wanted to migrate to overseas, and computer was happening at that time. You have a computer degree.
Of course, it makes you more...
Jobs were easy.
Yes.
So I changed my line from being health instructor to a computer professional.
So let me just think about this. So, a health instructor is very people-focused, and it's very physical, and it's a real kinesthetic, sensory kind of job, into something which is really analytical and data-driven and, ones and zeros. What was that transition like for you? Because they seem to me like two different personalities almost.
I like physical. I like to do physical work. I was doing aerobics 2-3 times a day, yoga once a day. I got sauna steam. I got everything on my disposal. So I was just 17 when I started my first job.
Wow.
The reason I went to computers is because I think I'm more logical. Right. I understand the logic part of the brain or whatever. It works better for me rather than the memory side of it.
Gotcha.
So my family wanted me to be a doctor because we are a family of doctors and, God knows, PhDs and all that stuff. Yeah. So I did pre-medical, but I never liked being a doctor because I feel it's not, I know it's a noble profession, no offense to anyone.
Yeah, of course.
But I can't see people suffering. That was my thing. I wanted people to be happy. So that's why being health instructor was something, you can make a positive thing. People are not healthy. You can make them healthy and they are happy. And there was really good time and vibes when we used to exercise. It was fun time for me. And the fun time is something I like. But then when I saw that my career needs me to change my profession and go into something that is happening, then I started my training in computers. While I was studying and I was doing my job, I was also doing training in computers.
So did you sleep at that time?
I was a good sleeper. I used to sleep on time. 10 o'clock I used to sleep without delay, without anything. And 5 o'clock I used to get up. So
by jingos.
Without alarm, I used to get up, and yes, I always used to have discipline in my life and always have structure in my life.
Yes.
So then I shift to computers because
Job
I wanted
opportunities.
job opportunities was there, and I also wanted to. My friend, one of my friends, she moved to USA, and she said, "Go into computers, get your degree, and then I will try to get you there." My very best friend Reshma was there. So I listened to her. I did my training in computers. I got a very good job. Based on my training and my job in India, I got New Zealand residency
Wow.
within weeks.
What
So
was that moment like for you?
I never told my family till I got the residency. So I did the application. I forget about it because I was busy doing what I was doing. And then late night, my agent then called me and said, "You got residency, New Zealand residency." I said, "Can I call you in the morning?" I didn't even react to it. So in the morning, I said, "I thought I'm dreaming that I got something."
Yeah.
He said, "I'm sending you your passport stamped with New Zealand residency." And at that time, I wasn't really aware of where New Zealand is. I didn't realize how far it is from India, you know. But yeah, I that was kind of my first achievement on my own, you know. All the money I was earning from doing whatever I was doing, I put it towards it. And I got New Zealand residency. I kept on doing what I was doing. But when it was about to expire after 1 year, I thought it's time I should go.
Wow.
But that was one of the biggest, um, terrifying, you know,
Moments in your
decisions.
life.
Yeah. Because, but then I said, if I don't do it now, I compared my life in India and I compared my life going overseas. So I said, if I don't do it now, if I don't take this opportunity, I will regret for my
Yes.
life.
And I
So,
was just going to say, and just for some context, because I know a lot of people haven't been to India. I have, and I love it. It's one of my favorite countries in the world. But for people who don't understand what it's like, what is the quality of life? Like in Punjab, it's quite westernized. But what is the quality of life like over there? What was your experience?
uh, it's from my experience those days, women can't go out after 7 or dark.
Wow.
I don't know anybody is aware of teasing, woman teasing. You will get touched. You will get,
wow.
you know, commented on if you're out on your own. It was not safe.
Okay.
It's not safe to be alone outside when it is dark in India. I'm talking about that time.
Yeah.
But till now, you know, my mom is here. And when I leave her in the evening, she tells me, "Give me a call once you're at home." She still feels that it's not safe, even in New Zealand, when girls are out.
Wow.
Um, my experience as a woman in Punjab is that uh, it's you are second citizen.
Wow.
They celebrate when a boy is born, and they does not celebrate that much when a girl is born. It-
It's such a tragedy. It's such a tragedy. And so was part of that the one of the drivers to come to a country like New Zealand as well?
Definitely, because at that time, what I knew about New Zealand was that it's safe for women.
Yeah.
It is safe for women, and I can be myself. I'm not being judged. I'm not being given something because I'm a woman or man, or I'm not judged being because I'm a woman. When I'm in New Zealand, I can go out at 3 o'clock in the morning. I know things are not very good at this time. You know, there
Right
are
now.
still
Yeah.
right now but when I came to New Zealand 20 years ago, it was a safe place for women. I used to go out without feeling that somebody is going to touch me, without my, allowing them. And um, I felt free, which I can't do. I was very lucky to born in a very good family. Ours is a family of doctors and, educated PhDs, double PhDs, PhD in physics, chemistry.
Wow.
Very lucky my parents allowed me to come to New Zealand. They are very proud of me. But not every woman is that lucky. So I feel lucky, but I also feel that I can escape that. I was lucky enough.
Well, you made choices.
I made very difficult
and hard
choices, very
leaving your
hard
family.
choices, and I lived to make those choices. I had a very good focus. I was focused on, just getting out of that misery and a cage where you're just limited and you don't have any control whether you are born a woman or a man.
No.
And people just treat you very differently just because you're a woman.
Oh, it's tragic, absolutely
It
tragic.
is.
So you came to New Zealand. So you would, before I jumped in on that question, you were just about to say which was when you came to New Zealand. What happened next?
I came New Zealand with open mind. I just got $1,000. I said, I'm not going to buy a return ticket. And I'm not going to take enough money so that I can buy a ticket back. So I'm going to make it happen.
Wow.
So I still have those $1,000. I never bought a return ticket. From that money, I still have those $1,000. So I came with open mind. I thought, whatever happens, happens. I'm taking this step. Either I make it or whatever consequences, I'm going to take it. But my mind was believe in yourself and believe in the universe. Your parents has given you a mind. They have brought you in a very good culture. They've given you a sense of security, how to be safe.
Great values.
Yeah, great values. My mom is a great teacher for me. And my dad was a businessman, so I learned a lot from him. And I said, whatever happens, happens. Take a step. Don't look back. Just do it. And universe will help you, There are people who are good. There are people who are bad. So trust yourself and do it anyway. Face your fears.
Face your fears, that's
right.
Face
your fears and do it anyway. Yeah.
I love that. So you came to New Zealand. Did you go straight into immigration once you were here? Because you came in with your IT degree or your digital
and business management. I also had a degree in business management. Wow. I did that. When I came over here, I did have a little bit experience in immigration because I was a migrant. And I thought, okay, whatever comes first, whatever job comes first, I will join it. Doesn't matter what job it is, survival,
Yes.
So I appeared for my first job, my first interview for the security consultant. And it was in Albany, the interview. So I gave myself 1 month. I said, I'm going to take a job, whatever comes first. I booked 2 appointments. Both were in Albany. I took 3 buses to go from Glen Eden to Albany. At that time, it took me 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
I remember exactly the meeting was at 12 o'clock. And they only gave you 5 minutes to tell you about yourself. There were like 200 people to be interviewed.
Wow.
So when I was interviewed, I didn't know that he's the manager who is interviewing me.
Yeah.
So when I was interviewed, he gave me 5 minutes and I started talking. And by the end of 5 minutes, he said, I have never given job anybody on the spot, but I'm giving you now. I'm telling you now that you've been selected.
How did you feel?
I felt so good. I forgot about the second appointment and I went home. And I realized on the bus that there was second meeting, the second appointment. Stupid Jaycee, you got so excited that you just forget about it. But I got it. So that was within less than a month.
Wow.
Then I got it. And I told my parents that I got the job. But it was a difficult job. It taught me a lot about New Zealand culture.
Yes.
Because going and talking to people in their homes about security, I learned that New Zealand is not that safe.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting.
It was very eye-opening.
Yeah, I bet, and especially if you're going into people's homes.
Yes.
And they'll be skeptical because if you're in a sales role as well, I don't know if that was part of it. I'm assuming it probably was, but going in there and they'll be skeptical of you because you're there to sell something. Sell a solution.
It was a little bit different because there was a team who used to make our appointments and companies when used to drop us for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I used to give a presentation of our product. It was a monitored alarms.
Yeah.
So mainly we were not selling, we were more of consultant who goes and tells you, educate them about, and there was 4 years contract. So it was very difficult for many people to do it, but my success rate was very high because I think my safety thing was always there. And I used to give presentation with, as if I'm giving it to my own family. I used to feel and get to know the horror stories, what happens actually in New Zealand. It wasn't that safe. I used to get, I think, $300 per success. I made quite a bit of money in first year, actually, and I was very happy about it.
I bet. So how did you move from security into immigration?
It wasn't direct because then I started retail. I went in retail. Right. I did retail, I did some troubleshooting, and I also did some teaching in New Zealand. So I have done few jobs in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So after that, after the security, I went in retail. I worked with Noel Lemming, also Briscoe's. I did the retail job. But then I was picked up by somebody in IT.
Yeah.
I went for a party. And they started talking, what you doing? I said, I'm being trained into IT and I got this. They said, come and work for us.
Wow.
So I said, okay, I will come for the interview, but I don't promise because I'm done with computers. I don't want to be that person in the room doing that,
Yeah.
I want to be with people now. They said, you are going to teach, so you will be with people.
Wow.
So actually, they already made up their mind. When I went, they said, this is the agreement, sign it, this is your salary, and which was very good. And he said, okay, give me 24 hours to think over. I was happy inside, but I said, okay, give me 24 hours to think.
Yeah.
And I said, yes. So I started teaching New Zealanders. I used to teach, starting from somebody who was young to somebody who was 50, 60, 70 years old.
And you were teaching
computers? I was teaching computers.
No way.
Yes.
So you would have had, was it like a community organisation or what was it?
It was a proper computer institute.
Oh, great.
But students used to come who wants to have career in computers.
Right.
Or somebody who's a nana, who's already done the job of being a mother and now looking after the kids, grandkids, but still want to pursue their career.
How wonderful.
So I used to have 20, 30 students sitting and I was teaching them how to switch on the computer and how to, do MS Word, Excel, how to do website. I used to make websites.
Wow. You've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of things.
A lot of.
So you were in education and then was that your step before getting into immigration?
So again, I always wanted to go into immigration. Back of my mind, I think I was always a businesswoman, but I didn't have enough money to do the products. So I think the second thing is services and what services I can provide. I didn't want it to be an accountant or a doctor or, always close to my mind and heart. I think immigration was there. So I said, I need somebody who can train me in immigration. So I started looking for a lawyer who can take me as, train me. I went for another party and it was my friend, he said, they said you can bring +1 and somebody's being, she got residency and she is giving party to immigration advisor who helped her. So I said, perfect. I will go and meet him and I will ask him for the job.
I love your tenaciousness. I'll just meet them and I'll ask for a job. How wonderful. Wow.
So I went and Russell Page, he was as a guest of honor there because he helped a Chinese girl to get the residency and she was very happy. After a lot of difficulty, she got the residency and I went there and Russell was there. And before I even asked him, he said, come and have coffee with me.
Wow.
So I said, okay, we can do it in a week. He said, no, come tomorrow.
All right then.
I said, okay, let's have a coffee. And I went to have a coffee with him. And then one thing to another, within a month, actually, I was working with him.
Wow.
He offered me a job as international student recruiter.
So wow. So your work in education, your own immigration journey, your love of people, your IT background, all of that stuff all came together at that point. Because I've been thinking, I've known you for a little while. And I've been thinking, how do all these things work together? I finally just see now they do.
Yeah, they do.
That's incredible, Jaycee.
Yeah.
So it's like the perfect culmination of everything you've done.
Yes. It's like connecting the dots backward.
Connecting the dots.
Backward.
Connecting the dots. I love that. Wow. So you ended up working in that organisation?
Yes, I worked with him for 2 years. I learned a lot. He was a very good teacher. I learned a lot. And he was going through some issues himself, so he couldn't practice for some time. And I think it was kind of universe helping you out. You know, when you're really focused, I think universe put you in that position. It's up to you. You take that opportunity or not. So I learned a lot from him. I never said no. We had a bit of, he was a little bit, you can say he was half Jewish and half English. So his way of dealing was very different. And I was scared Indian woman. But I cried a few times on that job. It wasn't, again, easy for me. But later we became very good friends. And I knew one thing, if I stick around, I will learn from him because he's a good teacher. He was teaching me well. So by the time I finished with him, I got my license as immigration advisor. And actually, I helped him to do his application.
Oh, wow.
So it was really, and now we are best of friends. And his wife name is JB, and my name is Jaycee. So, and he's got 3 lovely kids, and we meet often. We talk about the immigration problems in that all. But initially, it was difficult for me to stick around because he was just sometimes,
Was he tough on you?
Yes. Well, not on my learning, but he was
a good mentor, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He was tough overall. He was a tough person, but I said, just if you stick around, you will be okay.
And I think from, understanding you and your story, you're not one to say no to a challenge as well. You'll rise to a challenge. That's the one thing I do know. Like even coming on camera today, I know that's a challenge for everybody.
Yeah.
For everybody. But you decided you wanted to rise to that challenge.
Yes.
So firstly, I have to say I'm immensely proud of you for doing that. So now you are doing profound work and you've got a big vision as well. You've got a big vision. But let's talk about the type of people that you help, because my understanding is there are nights when you might be on a Zoom call with a client helping them right up to that final deadline to get them residency here or get them into the country at 3:00 in the morning. Your phone never stops. Yeah. So tell me about what drives you to want to serve people in this way.
I think, again, my goal is the same, happy people, The thing that I didn't want to become a doctor and I chose to be a health instructor was I want to see happy faces. I just like people to find better place for themselves, for their families. I want to help those people who have vision for their families. I think it comes from the same thing I want for my family, better future. I know what I will have in India and what I have in New Zealand is 2 different things. It's an opportunity, giving them an opportunity to come to a better place. I totally agree. It's still not that good in India. I'm not saying anything. It's the culture. And it's millions of years, I don't know how old the culture is, it will take time to change it. And people are trying to change it. And there are so many good families. I want to focus on good. I want to focus on those families who want to give their kids better future. And because I have experienced it, coming from that scary place to place where I can grow, where I can be what I am and what I can be. And also, I want to help those parents to come there and experience that thing. So I like families to be happy. I like the families to be safe. I like families to be, able to give that opportunity to their kids. That's very close to me.
Of course, because it resonates with your family values as well. And I've heard you speak a number of times. We're in the same business networking group, and I've heard you tell some incredible case stories. Is there one story of a family, of an immigration story that you've facilitated that has really stood out to you, that's touched your heart?
Every story is close to my heart, but one story that really resonates me or makes me proud of what I do is a Chinese girl who was born here. Whole family was given residency, but she was denied.
Oh.
Even when she was born, and it wasn't her fault. She was born with growth disorder. So she was like 3 years old, but her mind was still 1 year old.
Oh, wow.
So, and it was because during her birth, something happened that she was born with the forceps.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly the situation was. And she got growth disorder. So immigration said, we are not going to, because it's going to be expensive on our,
on the health system.
On the health system.
Yeah.
So I did fight for her. I went for IPT appeal. It was a long fight, and there was no predecessor it was a fight because if they give her the residency, this case can be used in other cases where, so there was a bit of fight. We won it.
Wow.
So I won it, and it was something, I think this is something, the girl, the kids, the family suffering, that was so close to me that I said, no, I have to fight for it. And when we got the approval, I don't know whether cried or not. I cried a lot because that was such a relief to me.
I can imagine.
That was such a relief to me that the family doesn't have to leave. And they were doing good. They were having such a good business in Invercargill, and they were giving employment to others. And I did a good study about China culture. It changed my whole perception about China culture.
Wow.
Where they suffer so much just because they want to have another kid, know? So I get to know Chinese culture a lot when I was doing that case. But I was very happy with the outcome. I wouldn't have really, some part of me would have died that day if there was a decline for that case.
Jaycee, I hear you have so much heart in the work that you do, and so much, people is obviously high on your values list, and I know that comes from the family that you've grown up with. The culture around you may have been challenging, but that heart in your family, I think, comes through really strongly. And you have a big vision about what you'd love to do. In a perfect world, if money was no object, how would you serve particularly young women? How would you help?
I think what they really need to realize is they don't need to depend on man.
Okay.
We don't have to be part of men. We can be independent. I'm independent woman, and I'm happy. But through my career, I have come across few girls, few young females or women who at some stage lose confidence. I would love to see more people CEOs. I would love them to be more doctors. I would love them to be more successful, taking charge of their career, taking charge. Because one successful woman can make tens and thousands of people successful, they are not selfish. They're not self-centered. They like to give. They like to contribute. They like to be, they are givers in my mind, because I got it from my mom. I got it from my sister. I got it from other females, other women in my life. They are so giving. So you make confident one woman, and they can make tens and thousands of women of God. Look at yourself. I mean to say, I'm so impressed with you. I tell you.
Thank you.
So you're the only one who can actually make me do webinar. Otherwise,
you're making yourself do webinar.
I won't do it without you. But what I'm saying is, when you teach a mother, you are actually teaching a family. When you're teaching a nanny, you are giving. She just gives, forward. So I want to see women more confident. They don't need to depend on anyone. They can make their fortune themselves. I want to see more women on 500 Fortune or Fortune list. Yeah. So, and they are there. They just need to shine. So that's my main thing. If I can help few people in their life, even one woman, that will be.
I can just hear some sound.
That's my phone.
Oh, right. I was just wondering what that sound was. I was like, am I hearing voices? That's all right. See, we're in a live environment, you see. It's a live podcast environment, so I can expect that. I love that. I love that. So you want to help women shine. Now, just to finish up, Jaycee, incredible story there, and incredible to see your heart coming through and why you do what you do. I know that there are people who will probably be listening because of the topic of this particular podcast episode, which it's a focus on, or a spotlight on, immigration, real conversations around immigration. Yeah. If somebody is listening and they're saying, wow, I love this, I have family overseas and I know they would be safer here in New Zealand. Even though we know right now New Zealand's a bit of an interesting place. Coming through COVID, it's still a little unsettled, but it's certainly one of the safest countries in the world.
Oh, sure, for sure.
How can someone like you help these people listening get their family here? What happens?
First thing is to get the right assessment. There are so many people who, even though I'm not pointing out anyone, but the thing is, if you're going and getting an assessment done, don't be afraid of spending some money, because before you move your family here, do get advice from 1 or 2 or 3 people and see who you connect with.
Yep.
It's not just about getting the approval or decline, but you also need to know, you should be able to trust that advisor, So for me, most important thing is the advisor, the trust. And you need to be organized. You need to get your documents ready. Any document missing could be.
The advisor talks you through that.
Yeah. So I do help them getting the documents ready. If you don't have one, I can always help you to do that. And second thing is, have your funds ready. So there are 2 things important: good advice, documentation, and the funds. So you have to have some savings. It's expensive to move to another country. Don't take it lightly. Be organized, save some money, get the right advice, get the positive advice, and sometimes don't have a little bit patience. Sometimes it's not about getting it now. It's about getting it right.
Beautiful.
And it could be one step at a time, like one person can go first and then the family can follow, rather than taking everybody and jumping on the ship or board. And I mean to say, it's always good to take one step at a time rather than just jumping on, taking with your family.
I love that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to go first and see whether your kids can settle down there or not.
That's great advice. So if people have heard that and they like the sound of what you're saying and they like your values that have come through in today's chat, that you actually care about people and you want people to genuinely be happy, how can people get in touch with you?
Google me most of the time.
Jaycee Hazooria?
Yep, Jaycee
Licensed
Hazooria.
immigration consultant?
Yeah, advisor. New Zealand, Auckland. My phone number is 02116 20056. I pick up my calls.
Yes, you do, actually. You're amazing.
Yeah, so call me and book a consultation. First 20 minutes is free. I'll listen to your story. If I can help you, I will say, okay, let's do it. But if not, then I will tell you, see, I can't help you. But I may be able to tell you in 6 months or 1 year time, you can do it. But I got a website, jcglobal.co.nz, so they can go and put their details and I will get in touch with them.
Jaycee, thank you so much. And I do wish you all the best of luck in all of your endeavours. I know you've got some really big visions of what you want to do and the charitable work you'd like to do in the future. So I know from hearing your story today, anything that you set in your mind you achieve. So I can already see it happening. So best of luck with everything.
Thank you, Monique, and it wouldn't happen without your help.
Oh, I'm just a cog in the machine, my dear.
No.
And again, if you want to find out more about the incredible work that Jaycee does, as she said, you can go to jcglobal.co.nz. You've heard her number. I'll put the link in all of her details below this podcast or video, whatever platform you're watching on today. I am Monique Bradley. This is Uncovering Authenticity. It's real chats with real people, taking off the mask, getting to the heart and soul of why people do the incredible work that they do. Look forward to seeing you next time. And thanks again to Jaycee. Ka kite anō e no hura.